I use that, Mr. Diversity. Meeting to order at 6 p.m. September 13th, and Mr. Fishing Hawk, would you deliver the invocation, please? Stand, please. Gracious and Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight seeking your guidance. May we be filled with generosity of spirit and true compassion. Please keep your loving hand on us all and be with the Lattimore family, friends, and their loved ones as they are in need of comfort right now. We pray for these things with humility that we may learn, and the peace that comes with forgiving and the strength we gain in loving. Please keep your loving hand on the Cherokee Nation and guide us in our decision. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Juliet Hoax. Bradley Cobb.
Honey.
Doug Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishing Hawk.
Here.
Meredith Rayleigh.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Chuck Huskin Jr.
Here.
Thomas Lori Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Next order of business is approval of the August 16 regular session minutes as written.
Move for approval. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on the minutes as written? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes stand approved as written. Next order of business is State of the Nation. Principal Chief Chad Smith.
Good evening. It's my great honor to appear in front of you to express and declare the state of the Cherokee Nation this September 2010. It has become our custom and our honor. We would like to begin tonight's proceedings by recognizing our Cherokee friends and family who have had family members pass on this past month. We have several people to hold in remembrance tonight. Helen Daniels, relative to numerous Cherokee Nation employees. Jack Dwayne Hefner, father of Information employee Alan Hefner. Roger Jordan, Gopher Four-Killer. Brian Derek Kirk, a former employee of the Cherokee Nation. J.D. Hollinger, Charlie Tribolo, Gerald Shamblin, Bill Ivey, and Caleb Enlow. Are there others that we should recognize at this time? If not, let's have a moment of silence. I failed to recognize a particularly sad story. Avo Five-Killer, an employee that we know in Human Services, on the same weekend lost her son Dale Rodney Duke and Kirk Lee Jaster. She had to make the decision for both of them to withdraw them from life support. So if you see her, please give her your support. She's just a precious little lady. She's gone through a lot of tragedy. This month, in appreciation of our Cherokee veterans, we're honoring Tyler Fish, Ross Gord, and Charles Scott. And I will ask them to come up in a few minutes and allow us to recognize them. First, our most recent veteran, Tyler Fish. Tyler was born in 1983 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to Robin and Harrison and Lou Fish. Tyler served in the United States Marine Corps for a period of 6 years, entering as a private motor vehicle operator in 2002. and attaining the rank of sergeant by the end of his service in 2008. During occupational training at the Marine Corps detachment of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Tyler achieved the title of Outstanding Honor Graduate, finishing at the top of his class, and went on to receive numerous accolades during his service. Tyler served the majority of his tenure in the Marine Corps at Fox Battery, 2nd Battalion, 14th Marines in Oklahoma City, and attended the University of Oklahoma. During his final semester at OU in 2007, Tyler's unit was activated for combat deployment in Iraq, where he served more than a year. Tyler's active service in the Marine Corps expired in May of 2008. Later that year, Tyler began volunteering in the Cherokee Nation Washington office while he completed his college degree. He's currently attending the law school at the University of Oklahoma, and his wife of 2 weeks tonight will join him, Desiree, to pin the Cherokee National Medal of Patriotism on this fine young man.
Say a word, please. I'll just say thank you very much, Principal Chief Smith, and thank you to all for coming here to honor me. And I feel really blessed and honored that I have the unique opportunity to serve both of my nations, the United States as well as the Cherokee Nation. As a token of my gratitude, I actually brought a gift of mine. This was a flag that I personally flew while I was in Iraq, and I would like to donate it to the nation. If you might have a place to put it up around here, I'd be honored.
Our Deputy Principal Chief, Joe Grayson Jr., began this award some period of time as a National Award of Patriotism for those who have served our Cherokee Nation and our country. And what sometimes you don't hear when Joe pins, or the spouse or the loved one pins the award on the veteran, he says, "This is an award not given, it is earned. On behalf of a grateful Cherokee Nation in the United States, we would like to honor you." And so that was my honor tonight to say those words to Tyler and the rest of our veterans tonight. Next, we honor Ross Gord. Ross was born in Tahlequah in 1949 to Leonard and Leanna Dry Gord. He was raised in the Gideon area and attended school at Bethel and Hobart schools. He went on to serve his country in March of 1969 and was sent to Fort Polk, Louisiana for basic training. After graduation, Ross was sent to several locations in Germany. He was in the 8th Infantry Division while serving. He went to school for training as a lineman. Ross received his honorable discharge in March of 1971. Ross is a deacon and a minister at Johnson Prairie Baptist Church, and he is married to Melva Drywater. He's very proud to be Cherokee and of the ability to speak the language fluently. So, Mr. Gord, would you come down and allow us to recognize you, sir? Say a few words, please.
I just want to say thank the Lord for all that He has done for me and all the Cherokees that are here. And Brother Chad here today. And, serving a country means a lot to me. And I've done my part. And I always tell the young ones, if you have to go, go to the Army. So just pray for one another. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last honoree comes from the World War II era, and we recognize Charles Thomas Scott. He was born in 1924 in Augusta, Kansas. He grew up in Keystone and Proctor, later attending school at Dwight Mission and Haskell Indian Institute. Upon his graduation from Haskell in 1943, Charles enlisted in the United States Navy. He received his training to become a radio man in the Navy and volunteered for submarine service. In 1944, upon completing submarine training, Charles was transferred to the Pacific area and was signed to the USS Bushnell and the USS Shad, completing one war patrol. For his service in the Pacific, Charles received the Asiatic Pacific Medal, the American Theater Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal. After returning from the Pacific, he was assigned to the Naval Air Station in Oakland, California, and then to another ship for 2.5 years. Charles then enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guard, serving until his retirement from military service in June of 1964. After Charles completed his military service, he worked for the U.S. Navy Civilian Civil Service at Lockheed Missile and Space Company for 21 years. Charles says that he has always been proud to be a citizen of the Cherokee Nation and has attempted to live his life to honor his heritage in any situation. Mr. Scott, would you come forward and let us recognize you? He comes from Palo Alto, California. Say a few words, please.
This is a very, very unexpected honor. I never in my life expected to get such an award, especially from the Cherokee Nation. And it's really a privilege to do it, and I'm just proud to be here and very proud to be a Cherokee. And I've never let anyone forget that I was a Cherokee.
Charles has a huge family has come all the way from California. So if his family will stand and let us recognize you, everybody from the Scott family. Thank you very much. In program service updates, the Cherokee language is now, for the first time, on iPhones and iPods for over 300 million users. The Cherokee Nation has been working with the software developers at Apple Incorporated for several years to incorporate our unique Cherokee syllabary into new technology. Incorporate our unique Cherokee syllabary into new technology offered by the software giant. Cherokee is the first native language to be featured on Apple, and only one of 40 languages overall. And if we stop and pause to think of the impact of this technological advancement, we could see through history we had the same moment over 180 years ago, when the Cherokee Nation, after being introduced to the syllabary authored by Sequoyah, went and bought a printing press, the state of technology, in 1828. And we began printing our own newspaper, the first bilingual Indian newspaper in the United States. And we know the benefits of our language since then, being literate, not only fluent, but literate. And what this means to our immersion school and to all the children and people who want to learn our language. We're going to be able to teach our language in a technological language that they understand and will enjoy for the next 100 years. So we need to really appreciate the staff from Apple for such a great contribution. In legislative issues tonight, we address a budget for the next coming fiscal year. The budget has several functions. It's an accounting for our present resources. It funds and allows our work for the next year. It gives me, the principal chief, authority to spend money. Without a budget, I cannot spend a nickel, and without a budget, the government would shut down. The budget is one of the council's greatest responsibilities, and the legislative branch has the power of the purse. After the council passes a budget, the chief can execute it. The budget voted out of committee and the budget to be voted on tonight is the council's budget. We often get confused as to what is the purpose of the Cherokee Nation and what the function of a budget is. The purpose of the Cherokee Nation seems to me to be to help its citizens to mature into happy and healthy people. Direct services are those activities and programs our employees provide to help our people help themselves and assist those who can't. This year our budget decreases by 6%, but the budget the council presents tonight means that every employee will keep their job, which means essential and direct services will continue. We ought to express our appreciation to our employees because they provide outstanding effort in providing these direct services. Since our employees are the ones who provide direct services, we have maintained those direct services in this budget. The budget the council brings forward tonight defers brick-and-mortar programs and initiatives that must wait until financial times get better. The weakness of this budget is that we have only less than 0.4% as a reserve, and in perspective, that does not cover one payroll. Other governments have 6 to 11% reserve budgets. Over the next several years, we should work to build that reserve up to deal with emergencies and unforeseen contingencies. Health, education, social services, and housing budgets have all been preserved and in some instances increased. This morning I had the opportunity, there was a young full-blood man who was walking down the hallway and he asked where career services was. He was one of the participants in our day work program with the support of the council. We were able to design a program that people could come in and work a day and get a check or actually a debit card at the end of the day. It was hugely successful because there were so many people needing work. It was so successful we had to cut it back some. But what was inspirational about the program in its inception and the experience this morning was this young man walked 6 miles because his ride did not show up so he could work one day on a day work program. And to me, that really exemplifies the Cherokee spirit of wanting to help yourself. During the Cherokee National Holiday Powwow, a young lady came up to me and she says, I want to express my appreciation to you and the Cherokee Nation for its early detection cancer program. She told me that because of the program, her cancer was detected earlier, even though she had surgery and radiation. She survived, and she's healthy. And in the background was her 2 kids, and she hugged them and said, you know, I may not be here today if it wasn't for the Cherokee Nation. And so that is what a budget does. It's just not numbers. It gives us the ability as employees, staff, and its council to continue the good work of the Cherokee Nation. And I want to thank the council for its deliberation for this budget and presenting this budget to me after this evening's vote for my concurrence. Another announcement, this is a time of the year we say goodbye to our previous year's ambassadors and begin introducing our new representatives. Tonight I'd like to introduce our newest Miss Cherokee, and her name is Brooke Hudson from Claremore. And Brooke, would you stand and let us recognize you? and our newest junior Miss Cherokee, Jackie Eagle of Gore. Would you stand? We look forward to an exciting year with the two of them serving as goodwill ambassadors for the Cherokee Nation at many upcoming events. We also have several new Little Miss and Mr. Cherokee ambassadors. We invited them, but many of them could not be here with us tonight. Now, Brooke has had the distinction of not only representing us well in her capacity as a Miss Cherokee, but she was one of that dozen young people that rode the Remember the Trail bicycle ride from North Georgia to Tahlequah just months ago. And she's an accomplished bicyclist and leader, so thank you so much. We're going to look forward to great things from you, Madonna. Along with our naming our goodwill ambassadors for the next year, we also took time the Cherokee National Holiday to recognize several individuals in one group who epitomize the Cherokee community spirit. They are Mary Kay Henderson and Kathy Sierra, who coordinate and direct our National Youth Choir, Kulis Buck, a volunteer firefighter at the Uchi community, Dave Blackbird, an elder who lives in the Rocky Ford community, and the CC Camp Community Organization located near Salem in Adair County. We also named 3 new National Treasure Master Craftsmen during the holiday: Betty Christie Frog for her basket making, Edna Sue Thompson and Ed Fields for keeping our language alive. Our Medal of Patriotism was awarded this year to Brad Carson, who served in Iraq and a former congressman, and Charlie Soap, who served in the Navy and is our Director of Community Services. We acknowledge them for their bravery and their service to their country. And then we recognize 1 former council member and 1 former principal chief, Bill Johnson and Ross Swimmer, as the recipient of the Cherokee Nation's Statesmanship Award for their lifetime of service to the Cherokee people. And on a different note, we want to recognize several students from Marietta School in Adair County. And I'm going to ask Joe Crittenden and Jody Fishenhawk to come forward and acknowledge their teacher, Sammy Lou Smith, for her great contribution in leading Marietta in a phenomenal art program. Yes?
We would request that Curtis and Harley both come forward too, since they're in the district also.
Please do so. So Sammy Lou, if you'll come down, and if your students will come down and let us recognize you. They were the winners of the national art competition held by the United States Department of Education Office of Indian Affairs, and they were honored in Washington, D.C. recently. And we would, in just a minute, show a brief video about their accomplishments. So if y'all will come down here and face out this way, and Ms. Smith, you'll come over here. What artists are, they're ambassadors of transferring culture. They teach, they reinforce, and they make meaningful the cultural attributes and the way we look at the world. And so your leadership has just been phenomenal. We want to thank you so much and recognize your students.
Appreciate it so much.
Would you say a word, please?
It's just a very, very great honor for me to be here with my wonderful students. They have worked so hard to accomplish the many things that they have done in art. And I speak so well for the Cherokee Nation. We were well honored in Washington, D.C., and we appreciate everything that you did and that all of the Cherokee Nation did to make our trip absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We actually have a video about their accomplishments and tour in D.C. And so, Charlie, I don't know if we can turn the lights down, but we're ready for the... And I think it's on this wall. Todd Enlow, if you don't know him, he's the only one in the Cherokee Nation who can operate a PC. And he also can do the lights. All right.
The U.S. Department of Education has been running the Native American Student Artist Competition for 6 years. We're going into our 7th year. Every year, the Office of Indian Education chooses a theme that actually helps bridge the gap between culture and education. What it does is they want to ensure that students know that culture is alive and it's a part of the educational process. And so we have themes that are culturally respective, but also bring education into the forefront, letting students, being able to, kind of like what Samuel says, research their past, but also bring it into the future.
We have been involved for 5 out of the 6 years that it's been, it's in its history. And in those 5 years, I don't know for sure on the entries, but we've won a total of 16 places. There is just an innate ability within the Cherokees. Their connection, with nature and with the earth, and then it just comes forth in their artwork.
The teacher has to have that connection, and Samuel definitely has that connection with these students, and she's able to bring forth something from them that is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they're amazing students, but she helps them find that.
They are amazing in what they do. And all you have to do is just look around at the artwork that we have, and you can see. You just can't imagine that just a first grader has produced this, or even whether it's a 7th or an 8th grader, for the quality that they do. It's been a really good journey, and I hope it continues for a while.
And one of those artists is also one of our little Miss of ambassadors, and she's here. If you'll stand up, Ella Grace Mounts. We want to remind everybody about the Cherokee Challenge and the Chiefs Challenge. The Cherokee Nation is hosting a 5K run and fun run this Saturday beginning at 8 a.m. at the Cherokee Nation Courthouse in downtown Tahlequah. Council, we only have 6 weeks to prepare for the Tulsa Run, so get your shoes on. Are you going to be able to make it?
If I could walk
All right. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to drag me. Also this Saturday, we'd like to invite Cherokee children in grades 2 through 6 to come take part in our first annual Cherokee Music Festival and become members of our district children's choirs. That's happening from noon to 6 p.m. Parents can bring their children to sign up at noon. We'd also like the public to hear the Cherokee District Children's Choirs perform starting at 6 p.m. in the place where they play in Sequoia's campus. And the last thing we'd like to do tonight is that we have a gift for the council of Mary Kay and Kathy, and would your representatives come down? We've just recently released, I believe it's our 9th CD. It's titled Then and Now, and it recaptures the last 10 years of the youth choir. We had a concert just a few weeks ago, and the program's been phenomenal.
Just because we haven't voted on it.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
Next order of business is resolving the unfinished business. There being none pending, we'll move on to committee reports. Yes.
Madam Speaker,
There is a gentleman in the audience that calls someday up here on council Paul, and I'd like for him to stand. Caden. This is Joe Crittman's grandson.
Congratulations, Mr. Crittenden. Yes, Mr. Garvin.
thank you, Madam Speaker. Coming up in November, the National Congress of American Indians have their annual meeting in Albuquerque, and it comes at an unusual time, same time as we have our meetings. Starts on November the 14th on a Sunday and runs Friday on the 19th. And our meetings, council meetings, I think, is on the 15th and 16th. So it's going to conflict. It's a very important meeting and lots of decisions made, lots of contacts are made, and a lot of the council would like to go. So I'm going to make a motion, we change our meeting to the following week on Monday the 22nd and Tuesday the 23rd. I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, looks like the meeting is changed.
Thank you.
Now can I finish, Mr. Garvin? Can we move on now?
Yes, you may move on.
Okay. Committee reports. First report is David Sutherland of the Housing Authority. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to be here this evening. The September Housing Authority Board meeting will be Friday the 24th. We'll begin at noon at the Eileen Hogner Conference Room. The board's got a real light agenda this month. We had some rain down in Sequoyah County, some real heavy rain. We had two homes that were still under management in Muldrow that suffered some minor damage, carpet and that type of thing. We've had problems with one of them in the past, so we've got an engineer lined up to help us figure out what we can do to alleviate that problem. We've had at least 5 reports of private homeowners with Community Shield that's had some issues with the heavy rains. I don't know the extent of their problems, but we'll help them all we can if they call on us. The housing office in Sallisaw also had a leak during the big rain. The water got into the fire alarm, so I had people out at 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning taking care of that, but they got that situation under control. We've also had a couple of, recently in the last 45 days, 2 apartment fires, both of them caused by smoking, one in Stillwell and one at Bartlesville. It's a serious issue that we've kind of began discussions on. Is it possible to eliminate smoking in our apartments? I don't know if we can. We're certainly going to look into that. The gentleman at Bartlesville did lose his life. He was fatal. He was smoking in bed. So we've got a real serious problem. It's getting worse. So we're going to be talking about that over the next few months. We're also having an open house at Will Rogers Senior Housing Complex in Claremore. That's on October the 15th. We're going to have several programs there that day between 10 and 2. We're hoping to generate some new applications. We got some vacancies there, and show off what services are available to the current tenants. That's my report this evening, if anyone has any questions.
Questions or comments, Mr. Sutherland? Thank you for that brief report.
Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, David Stewart, Cherokee Nation Businesses.
Good evening. Overall, we had good financial results at all of our operating businesses. At C&E, results were slightly ahead of last year, which is a positive sign, but only enough for us to feel like the economy is holding its own. The properties are doing very well, with West Siloam showing the best results. Occupancy at the hotel, which we attribute most of the success to, is at about 60%, and we expect that to continue. For the first 9 months, C&I is showing about $1 million in profit. We continue to look at ways to cut expenses and develop a more aggressive sales effort. All of our operating companies are profitable. CCRC was awarded a $10 million facilities maintenance contract at Dover, and was awarded the Small Disadvantaged Business of the Year by the FAA. They continue to do their work in the Gulf cleanup effort. Cherokee Nation Technology received 8A certification in June, which will position itself to compete more in the government contracting arena. C&B employees completed a volunteer assignment at Bellefonte Community and are gearing up for another project at Kenwood. And we continue to roll out all of our shared services, all of the accounting and legal work to our operating companies, and that process is going very well. So I'm very pleased at the consolidation of the boards. The industry committees made up of the board members are meeting every month with the individual companies and providing great guidance, and we're receiving great guidance up at the consolidated board level. So that move that the council made was a very positive one, and I think it's only going to get better. That would complete my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Comments? Yes, Ms. Fishing Hawk?
David, I went down to CNI's annual picnic this past weekend, and a lot of the employees was talking about they thought we had bought the Lavinol plant. Have we?
No.
Okay. I got 2 or 3 more. The employees also expressed concern about CNI bringing in employees that are not Cherokees, and they're not promoting from within, and they wanted me to pass that on.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll check into it. I know our Cherokee percentage is extremely high, and the only time we go out of preference is in a case where we have to provide expertise where we can't find someone that's Cherokee that can. So I'll check that out and get back with you and promptly.
Congratulations on your upcoming wedding.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not, hold on. Jobs for districts, and I'm talking about Adair County and Delaware County now. I've asked you all about it a couple of months ago. Have we got anything on the board, or?
I'm sorry.
Jobs for Adair County and Delaware County? Do you all have anything coming this way? Or anything
really nothing other than the expansion of CNI, which we're really in a holding pattern at CNI to get costs under control and get that company profitable. At this time, we really don't have anything to announce that would be in those counties other than just to make CNI more profitable and efficient. But we continue to look at companies to buy and acquire. We haven't made any decisions to do that yet, but we'll be announcing some, but they will not, right now I don't see anything for Adair or Delaware County. But we're continuing to look.
Okay. And then can you talk to us about Ramona?
All is good.
That was the one that Bill John had the piece of resolution wanting 100% Terrell vendors.
Right. That project went, actually, it went better than I had expected. When we look at the construction piece of that property, I think we were at almost over 95% Terrell. And then when we look at, that was the construction phase, and then we had additional work, of course, it was not Terrell because of its game purchases and items where we did not have Terrell vendors. But overall, I think we were at just over 80%, which I think that project went very well. Sean did a great job. And on construction, like I said, we were over 95%.
When everything was all said and done, we was right at 80%.
I think right at 79 to 80%, but that included a lot of things that we have no Terrell vendors that would supply those, like the games and some of the move-in costs, some of those specialty type expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Cobb?
A couple things on Ramona. I already planned to say some of these before Councilor Fishing Hawk. I know I've told you this privately, but I wanted to say it publicly. I have people go out of my way, go out of their way. Long day. I have people go out of their way in Bartlesville and stop me on the street and say how friendly the staff is at Ramona. They said they've never been in a casino. The staff was that friendly.
Well, thank you.
And the second thing is I've actually had some people that did some work out there, and we're very appreciative of the fact that they were hired to do some work out there. Cherokees, Delaware Cherokees, and I've had them go out of my way to say that how pleased they were that they hired some of the local people, Cherokees up in Washington County. So just wanted to say those two things.
Well, I'll forward that to staff. Chris Province, the manager there, is Cherokee and was promoted within through the ranks of the marketing department and into operations at Will Rogers. And then we gave him the opportunity to be the general manager at Ramona, and he's doing a great job. So thank you. I'll pass that along.
Yes, Ms. Gloria Jordan.
Yes, David, I still have not received the budgets for all of the entities.
We presented, that's because it has not officially been approved by our board. We have a draft of that was presented to the executive committee. That was last Wednesday, I believe. They made some minor changes, and we're going to issue that. You should be getting that tomorrow. And that has got, really, it hasn't been approved by the board, but it's our best estimate at this point, at least through the executive committee, and it will be finally approved by the board. So you should get that tomorrow. I mean, we're in final stages.
Can I hold you to that?
Yes, you can. You will have that tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Mr. Stewart? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next order of business is old business, and we have an act authorizing receipt of real property by donation. Ms. Watts?
Madam Speaker, I would ask for a motion to, or I'm going to give a motion to table for one more month because this needs to have more consideration. So motion to table for 1 month.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Under new business, we have items 1 and 2 that were approved unanimously in committee, and I would ask Mr. Buzzard if you would mind taking those in toto.
Yes, I will. Let me just read the acts, and we'll vote on them in toto, Madam Chair. The first one is a resolution for the food distribution system for FY11. It's requesting $3,109,435, which is 75% federal funds, and $2,332.076 is the 25% tribal match of $777,359. This funding would provide the distribution for the food for approximately 10,000 participants a month through current operation of 6 donated food centers located in Nowata, Salisaw, Salina, Stillwell, Tahlequah, and 7 trailer tailgate sites in the Cherokee Nation. The other act is an act from the LIHEAP program, which provides residential energy assistance payments to approximately 1,400 low-income tribal households with children under the age of 6. The program will also provide 400 households with emergency payments for residential energy-related crises. And I put this in the form of a motion for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Items 1 and 2 passed in toto. Now, the Health Committee, we have a resolution that authorizes grant application for tribal management. Dr. Cobb.
Speaker. The Health Service Group has completed an operational assessment of its medical records department and identified opportunities for improving business process efficiency. To meet these needs under the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act and the Patient Protection and Affordability Act, this resolution would then authorize the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council for a proposal to be prepared and sent to IHS in the amount of $300,000 to train the staff and meet regulatory requirements, and I would move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And items 4 through 8 were approved unanimously in Rules Committee. And Ms. Gloria Jordan, would you take those and present them in toto?
Yes. This is a motion in total of 4 through 8. These are resolutions confirming the renomination of Shannon Fisher as Commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Gaming Commission. Number 5 is a resolution confirming the renomination of Jennifer Barker Johnson as a Commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Gaming Commission. Number 6 is a resolution confirming the renomination of Lloyd Armstrong as a board member of Cherokee Nation Businesses. Number 7 is a resolution confirming the renomination of Jim Carson as a board member of Cherokee Nation Businesses. And number 8 is a nomination confirming the renomination of Jackie Bob Martin as a board member of Cherokee Nation Businesses. I believe all are Cherokee Nation members, and I would put that in the form of a motion for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving these items 4 through 8 in toto signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we do have Ms. Fisher here, Shannon Fisher here this evening, who's a member of the Gaming Commission. Ms. Fisher, do you want to say a few words?
I'd like to thank the Principal Chief and the Council for their continued confidence. Thank you very much for the renomination, and I also speak for Jennifer Barker Johnson.
Thank you very much. Item 9 is an act amending the Environmental Quality Code. This changes the affirmative vote required for any substantive action by the Environmental Protection Commission from 3 votes to a majority present of the appointed and confirmed commissioners. And would you move for approval?
Yes, I'll make a motion that it be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By acclamation?
By acclamation.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 10 is an act repealing and replacing the present gaming law. Ms. Count-Watts, do you want to present that?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Madam Speaker, could we just thank Jamie Hummingbird for his work on this, to just acknowledgement?
Well, I suppose we should. Thank you, Jamie. Glad you could make your presence known tonight. Item 11 is this legislation authorizes coordination of information between our governmental departments. Mr. Baker.
Yes. This piece of legislation that requires that the different departments, whether it be registration or health, with the exception of sensitive records, that all the databases that we have at the nation coordinate with each other to come up with the best addresses and the best way for the government to be able to contact the constituents and come up with the, instead of having one at the tag office and one at registration and one someplace else where we can compile, it'll be underneath the principal chief to do. But it's for the purpose of better communication with our citizens. I put it in the form of a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Madam Speaker, could I address the council for a moment?
Ms. Count-Watts, do you want to yield to Principal Chief?
This will be nice tonight.
I'd ask for a friendly amendment on Section B, under Section 5, number B. It reads, in culminating this list, I think the proper word would be in compiling the list. Compiling is a state-of-art word in developing databases. So I would suggest that replace culminating with compiling. In compiling this list.
Compiling this list rather than culminating.
Yes.
Okay.
Collecting? Oh, okay.
Instead of culminating.
I would accept that, yes.
Thank you.
Well, just point of order, I don't believe the chief can make a friendly amendment to a council act or to a council act, so I will offer that as a friendly amendment.
And I will accept it.
Okay, your second.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Does this mean I got a friendly amendment?
You made a friendly suggestion.
This just means that you can offer it, doesn't mean you can ask us to do it, but we need to do it properly.
Thank you, Ms. Lori Jordan. All minds clear?
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
Thank you. I think that if asked the question about whether or not we have data issues or that we could not, or we need to make it easier for our tribal citizens to update information across the tribe in an easier, simpler method, I would think we would all agree. However, some of the issues that were brought up in committee, I still am concerned about and won't be able to support this legislation tonight. Not the intent of the legislation, but the actual logistics. And the reason why is a number of the groups that are named in the legislation are supposed to stand independent, such as the Election Commission, the Cherokee Phoenix is protected under the Freedom of Information Act, and potentially I believe this data could then thus be misused in an election circumstance, potentially. But it also, I think, infringes upon these independent agencies, what I like to call in a friendly manner of the fourth branch of government, so to speak. That we have a free press that kind of regulates all of us. We have a independent election commission that makes sure all the elected officials are following and complying by laws. And just the tone of the debate during committee meetings even alluded to this too. So although I agree that we need to work on our data issues and that we need to make it easier for our tribal citizens to update to the various databases and groups that maintain data or addresses and contact information for our tribal citizens, I think we're going about it in the wrong manner. But I appreciate the intent, and thank you for the opportunity to speak, Madam Speaker.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, this is an act, so roll call. Yes, as you support the act.
Bradley Cobb,
No.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Rayleigh,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright, John Garvin,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Tina Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Chris Soap,
No.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Sarah Callan Watts,
No.
Buell England,
No.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Julia Coates.
No.
We have 10 yes and 6 no.
10 yes, 6 no, motion carries. Item 12 is Mod 11 to the 2010 budget. Mr. Baker?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I would like to make a motion that we amend the agenda to include item 13, which is the passing of the budget for fiscal year 2011.
That is item 13.
Yes.
Second. Any discussion on amending the agenda? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, the agenda stands amended. Now, can we do item 12?
Yes. Item 12 is budget mod 11 for fiscal year 2010. It increases the budget authority by $7,918,000, which is primarily grants and economic stimulus funding for roads of $936,000, Head Start program award of $2.3 million, Early Head Start grant of $822,000, Family Preservation Support grant of $1.5 million, Community Anti-Drug Network grant of $1.2 million. We have a on the Job Training Career Services grant of $850,000 are some of the items included in this, and it brings the total budget authority to $657 million. And I make a motion that it be approved.
Acclamation.
By acclamation.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, item 13, Mr. Baker, do you want to present the 2011 budget?
Yes. The budget for 2011 is spending authority to $580,448,091, which is a reduction from this last year's budget. But it does, as the Principal Chief said, maintain our jobs and our services. So I make a motion that it be approved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Mr. Hoskin and then Mr. Baker.
Madam Speaker, I was not asking to speak.
You want Mr. He's yielding to you.
Oh, well, thank you. I will not be supporting this budget. It was said that this is the council's budget, and we worked very diligently, and we were able to put it back in several very important direct services to the people that was not brought to us when it was presented to us. However, there was many that were not put back in, and the first day was pretty productive. The second day was cut off pretty quick, and there's too many, and it's not a lot of money, but there's too many direct services to the people that are cut out of this budget. And I just hope and pray when the carry forward comes forward that the treasurer iterated 3 or 4 times that when it comes forward, we really want to put some of these things back in. And I just hope and pray that that takes place. But at this time, I will not be supporting this budget. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Yes, Ms. Gloria Jordan?
I am disappointed that the budget does not contain the needed minimum services for the people. This body, this government exists to serve the people. The entities we support, the money that we receive, that are received from those entities, are generated to exist for the people. Yet tonight, I think you heard in Mr. Stewart's report that all companies are profitable, yet we do not see any dividends from any companies that we own other than the casinos. This is an issue that certainly needs to be explored by this body. Because of these concerns, and because I just don't believe that we used our best effort to distribute almost $600 million without at least taking the time to find that money for these minimal services that the people expect, I can't support this budget tonight in its current form. Thank you.
Mr. Hoskin, did you have a comment?
No, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Yeah. Ms. Count Watts?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to thank all of the employees that I believe have spent months combing through this budget in order to make some difficult decisions. I think it was like 15.2 or 15.8 million of 40 million in tribal revenue had to be cut back in this budget this year to ensure that we were able to maintain not only the existing jobs where people are employed, but even the jobs we know we can hire for that are budgeted through federal dollars that are tied with certain strings, but also those programs where we're able to do more because of the tribal revenues generated by our casino employees at those operations. So I hope there's no disrespect to those people that have spent hours making difficult decisions in order to maintain what we've been providing, which is a minimum, a solid minimum, more than many other tribal governments, more than the state of Oklahoma, more than local governments, even some world governments, as we watch in the news, are able to do for their tribal citizens. So it's a little disheartening to hear folks say that we aren't providing for our tribal citizens. I know we had to make difficult decisions, and some of the niceties that maybe we were able to provide for in recent years had to be cut back and sometimes completely cut. Did we want to do it? No. If it was providing a service to our tribal citizens, sure, we would like to do that. But there is a difference between basic necessities that are life and death kind of choices, or housing for a roof over somebody's head, versus doing something nice for someone. So did we get everything we wanted? No. But like most adults who manage our own pocketbooks at our home, we're going to have to bring forward a balanced budget. Otherwise, we create disaster for our family members, which in this case is our tribal communities and our tribal citizens and the employees who rely on us to make good budgetary decisions for the long-term health of the Cherokee Nation. So, will everybody get what they want? No. But did we deliver a balanced budget? Yes. Am I still concerned about what Chief Smith brought forward, that we only have $2.2 million in reserve, which is not even a 1-2 week payroll for the tribal government? Absolutely. Did we spend much time on that as a body? No. So I hate the idea that we're focused on handing out checks to individuals when we should have been focused more on bigger issues like a lack of reserve for this tribal government. I know it's on my personal agenda, and I believe it's on other council people's personal agendas to come forward in the next few months and work hard about how we can further consider increasing that reserve, as Chief Smith spoke to, that we need to spend not just this year, but the coming years trying to build that reserve to something significant. Just to compare, the ice storm alone was more than $4 million out of tribal budget. So we can't cover one payroll, nor an ice storm should it happen. Those are significant issues to me, because a government is about basic, fundamental infrastructure. Emergency response, roads, bridges, and making sure that those basic kind of programs and projects are able to be delivered within our 14 counties. So I guess I see the budget a little bit differently, but I applaud all of those that put in the hours and the work and the hard decision making that had to be done to present a balanced budget tonight, and I will be supporting it. And thank you, Madam Speaker, and Mr. Chairman Baker, who's Executive and Finance Chair, for all the work and planning and herding the cats, so to speak, as we did 3 days of budget hearings. What up?
Thank you. Mr. Thornton?
Yes. By being the only councilman last year that didn't vote for the budget, I'd like to iterate something here and say that one of the things that really made me be for this budget was our CPA. And he worked hard on this budget. And he brought forward different things that was not going to be produced in this budget. And I want to say this was a hard decision time. We had to make some tough decisions. But our CPA iterated that this was the best budget that had ever been brought forward by this administration as far as he was concerned. He personally told me that. Last year, the reason I didn't vote for the budget last year was because I figured that we didn't really have a good enough budget that was going to run out of funding. And we didn't run out of funding, but we ended up robbing Peter to pay Paul. And everyone on this council knows that. I'm hoping that this year we won't have to do that. And I think there may be some decisions made on down the line this year where we can probably move a little money around and help our direct services more. And I'm looking forward to seeing if we can't do something like that. I know that CNE, they give us a lot of money, and that's mostly where we get our discretionary funding from. But I remember back when we used to get a little extra dividend from them, and we might try to twist their arm a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to be voting for this budget. Thank you, ma'am.
Crittenden?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I had intended to just vote against this because of the cuts in services, but after a few comments, I thought I might ought to make some too. I believe in transparency. There's been times in my life when I didn't, but of late I do. And I don't know that this was a real transparent budget, not to the folks say out there in the woods in Adair County. I don't think that they know that we've got somewhere close to $10 million tied up in jobs that's probably not going to be filled this coming year. I think we could easily move many dollars from over into the budget reserve. Someone made a mention of a concern there. I just think that there could have been a lot of things done with this budget and made it look much different. Bean counters can do a lot of things with numbers. And then also I learned in some of our talks and our meetings that we've sent somewhere close to 200 scholarship monies outside the 14 counties. Not just the contiguous counties, but outside the 14 counties in eastern Oklahoma. And I was unaware that was happening. And I think the net result of that may have been that some of our people inside the 14 counties didn't get funded. And that's, as I understand it, that's an ongoing process here. That's tying up some more of the money. So as David said, I believe we can at some point move some money here and there. But I just think we were cut services too deeply. And I appreciate the fact we're going to keep jobs and keep people working, need jobs and all. But this was not a true council budget. And so I'll not support it in its current form. Thank you.
Crittenden. Mr. Baker?
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt the law says that we'll present a balanced budget, and it's not that I think anybody wanted to reach in the sky and pull another $1 million out of nowhere. I think it all has to do with priorities. And, the government has to take care of their people. And, I was talking to a banker today that was the banker for the Cherokee Nation for the first 20 years. And he says, back then, he said, folks, every week the Cherokee Nation was $1 million overdrawn. And we survived. I got on the council, and thanks to the compact, the fuel tax, I was the one that made the first motion to have a reserve account in the Cherokee Nation. And it was called the Education Trust. And we built that up, and we protected it, and we've taken care of it. And at that time, Paula, you were there, and we put that 25% of that back, knowing that if we couldn't do anything else for our people, if everything fell apart, we could still send our kids to school and get them an education so that they could help themselves. And I think that, we're going down the wrong road. This budget's going to pass. I know it is. But I'm not going to vote for it. Thank you.
Mr. Hoskin?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I sort of feel like Councilman Crittenden in as much as I thought about it and decided to vote against the budget, but didn't feel moved to comment. But I do think some of the comments have moved me to respond. And this debate really just can't deteriorate down to a choice between supporting the budget that was handled to us. If you don't support it, you're disrespectful of those employees who crafted the draft budget over the months, because that's not the choice. I do respect what the staff did in crafting this budget. The chief has his priorities and we have ours. But that's not what the discussion is about. As Councilman Bill John Baker said, it's about priorities, and I think that we fell short in some of the areas. I also don't think that when we talk about where we fell short, we should characterize it as failing to fund handouts or checks to people. I hear that. I've heard that this evening. I've heard that a lot from the principal chief, references to slush funds. It just can't be that if you think something else is a priority that helps our people, that's a slush fund. It just can't be that if you think that we need to fund some programs for the least among us and put a little more funding into it, It just can't be that that amounts to you supporting the handing out of checks to people. I'm not going to fall into this, frankly, conservative trap of saying that government that hands out money is inherently bad and those are the tough choices we need to make. The choices we made are going to affect people. Those of us that are most vulnerable in this nation are going to get a little less this year, a lot less in some programs. And that's what's moved me really not to support this budget. I know it was a tough one to craft, and I respect the staff that did it. But they get their idea of what the priority is from the top, and the buck stops with the principal chief when it comes to crafting this draft budget that his office spent months and months on, and that we spent days on. So with that, Madam Speaker, I yield back and can't support it. Thank you.
Ms. Fishing Hawk?
I too have problems with the budget. I have problems with operating expenses going up in some budgets while direct services go down. I have a problem with automatically denying somebody contract health when we carry over millions in health every year. I keep hearing we're short on money, but we would rather sandbag money and salaries and deny people contract health. I, like Joe, have a problem with the transparency. The minute I started in budget hearings talking about how much we spend on legal fees, I think it was Mr. Baker, or I'm not sure it was somebody on this council, that said, that's off the subject. I said, no, it's not off the subject. If I want to talk about paying somebody $125 an hour to run off copies, it's not off the subject if it has to do with this budget. If we are paying legal fees of $800 an hour, it's on this budget. So yes, I have a problem with this transparency, because I think transparency is a two-way street. Just because you're the majority doesn't mean it's your transparency that you get. As far as disrespecting employees, I think the world of our employees. Matter of fact, I have had 5 calls and 3 personal visits since Friday when we cut these budget hearings off. And the 2 of the personal visits were from people in health saying, Jody, you put it out there straight. Thank you for giving it to us. Keep up the good work. We know you're not against health. I don't have a problem with our employees at all. I have a problem with some of the budgets that was prepared. And for that reason, I will be voting against the budget.
Thank you. Any other comments? I just want to personally thank our financial oversight officer and our treasurer. They worked terribly hard, but more importantly, they really worked together and to produce what was presented to the council, and I appreciate that. But Doug was really in a zone for about a month, and he worked awfully hard for the council, as did Callie. But thank you. I appreciate you being here this evening also. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Chuck Huskin Jr.,
No.
Hannah Glory Jordan,
No.
Chris Soap,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
No.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
No.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Harley Bezer,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
No.
Jody Fishing Hawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright, Don Garvin.
Yes.
Ten yes and 6 no.
10 yes, 6 no. The motion carries. The 2011 budget is approved. Okay, moving on. Moving on down to announcements. Do we have any announcements? Mr. Garvin?
Tomorrow night, the greatest night of the year, community meeting at the beautiful Three Rivers Clinic. Everybody's invited. 5 o'clock, supper will be served.
Thank you, Mr. Garvin. Ms. Cowan Watts?
Thank you. If you missed the Freedom of Information Act anniversary during Cherokee National Holidays, as being one of the younger people on council that wasn't present during the past administration, I just want to say thank you to the Cherokee Phoenix and the folks that were involved in making that possible, Mr. Ragsdale and Chief Smith and a number of other people. And I it may have been done last time, but Roger Graham, William Craig Henry, Wesley Mahan, Jamie Custer, Christina Goodboys, the Cherokee Phoenix itself, Will Chavez, Travis Snell, Jamie Custer, and Mark Dreadfulwater. I think you got 16 awards at NAJA, at the National Journal Association. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Hemingberg, did you have an announcement?
No announcement. I just wanted to correct an oversight earlier. I do want to appreciate the council's acknowledgement of the work done on the Gaming Act, but I failed to acknowledge some others that were right alongside of me. So I wanted to say thank you to Melanie and to the Chief's office for working with me and being so patient with me as we went through that process. But most of all to members of my commission for doing the same thing. They worked with me throughout this whole process and supported it from the beginning. So I wanted to say thank you to them, and I apologize for the oversight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Any other? Yes, Ms. Gloria Jordan.
On October 12th at 6 o'clock at the Tahlequah Community Building, Mr. Baker, Bill John Baker, and myself will be having our annual community meeting. We'd like to invite each and every one of you. Hopefully, all the departments will be allowed to come and set up their booths, and we hope to have a real good dinner that night. So we'd love to have all of you all come along with your families and come out and visit with us.
What's the time, Ms. Gloria Jordan?
6 o'clock. Well, Mr. Baker's at
8 to 6.
8 to 6.
Okay, any other announcements?
Madam Chair, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Carried.